All right, good morning. If my voice is a little off this morning or I'm a little quiet, I'm just feeling a little under the weather, but I just wanted to get this recording done for you guys. So we are on week 12 of Biology B, and truly, like, we are in the home stretch to the end of the year. These last few units are some of my favorites. They're just stuff that I resonate with a little bit more, and I hope that you guys enjoy them as well. So this week we are going to be covering macro and micronutrients. So, truly the things that our bodies need that we get from the environment every day. And then next week we have a test. And then from there we go into our final unit for biology. So, I hope you guys are as excited as I am to finish up this year strong. Let's take a look at our classwork for this. Let's take a look at our classwork for this week for a minute. Here we go. All right, so in Biology B, we are on the week 12 macro and micronutrients. We've got our quiz that we have every week, and we have a discussion this week. No extra assignments or anything like that. So please just finish those up. And as you can see, next week we've got a review. We have our assessment again. So let me just open this up really quick for you guys. Again, it's your assessment choice. I noticed that some of you were not doing the best you could absolutely do on the tests. So I gave you some other options as well. So again, next week you'll have the option for the Unit 6 test. We have this photosynthesis lab here if you would like to do that. And then lastly over here, oops, sorry about that. I didn't share my screen. Sorry. So you're going to have the Unit 6 test if you want to do that one, the photosynthesis lab or the Google Slides. Pick one of the three. I don't need to see all of them from you guys. I just need you to do one of the three to show me that you've gained and learned your knowledge from this class. All right, well, let's get started with macro and micronutrients. Or as I have called this, nutrition, because it's truly the nutrition that our body needs. So, nutrients are the substances that our body needs to regulate our body functions, repair any body tissues that are damaged, promote growth, especially for you who are younger and who are growing every day. You definitely need proper nutrition. To obtain energy, we all need energy every day to make it through and, just kind of get through the day, do anything we want to do any studying, do any extracurriculars we want to do, even just have a conversation, sitting on the couch, even just watching TV. We do need energy to do all of those things. Most nutrients come from the food that we eat. So, but when we think of a food as simply as fuel, it's easy to forget that there are much other reasons that we're eating too. So these are, some of the other reasons that we're eating. Obviously, yes, energy, but we need it for so much more than that. Okay. So here's a really common analogy. We need to think of the body like a high performance race car, and then the food that we eat is the fuel. So if the car or the body needs high quality food, so the best food that or fuel that it can possibly get, it'll run its best. So if you're eating like a bunch of junk food, fried food, etc., like that, your body might not run at its best possible um, might not run at its best possible measure because you're not feeding it what it needs. And we'll talk we'll talk a little bit in here about what our bodies need. So, there's obviously this is a very simplified analogy so it doesn't really understand, but as we go through the different macro and micronutrients, you'll be able to see what exactly our bodies need to run. So, we have different classes of nutrients. We have carbohydrates, we have proteins, we have fats, then we have water, vitamins, and minerals as well. Okay. So, the vitamins and minerals, they do not provide us any energy. Okay. Um, but and neither does the water. But the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats do provide us energy. So, like the truly like food stuff is the stuff that gives us energy, and the water, vitamins, and minerals, they are essential, but they're just not going to provide us any energy. So those top ones are going to be our macronutrients, and then our micronutrients are going to be the water, vitamins, and minerals. So, what is a calorie? A calorie is energy that we get from food. Um, it equals the amount of energy needed to raise a liter of water by 1 degree Celsius. So, the chemical process by which the body breaks down food to release energy, calories, is called metabolism. So, right here, you can see that for carbohydrates, you get 4 calories per gram. Protein is the same. And then for fats, you actually get 9 calories per gram. So, as you can see, that might be why a lot of our fat sticks a little more on your body when you eat it, because it's harder to burn off because it's 9 calories per gram. And how many calories do you think there are in water, vitamins, and minerals? Well, that number is going to be zero because we just said that calories are going to be the energy we get from food, and waters, vitamins, and minerals aren't going to provide us with any energy. All right, so let's talk about carbohydrates for a little bit. I know we discussed this a little bit back in first semester, but let's just a little refresher here. Carbohydrates serve as our primary source of energy. We have two different carbohydrates here. We have simple carbohydrates or complex carbohydrates. So this sucrose and this lactose, as you can see, they're a lot simpler structures. They are going to be our simple carbohydrates. And then our complex carbohydrates are going to be the starch and the cellulose down here. They're just really, really long chains all connected together. It takes a while for our bodies to break these down. So they are really good energy to, for if we need long exertions of energy. Whereas the simple carbohydrates are really great to get us like a short, quick amount of energy to make it through the day. These are great things to help get you started in the morning, this banana and orange, things like that. Whereas the complex carbohydrates are things that are going to keep us going throughout the day. All right, so simple carbohydrates are mostly sugar. Um, they're found in many foods like fruit and milk, and most commonly in food that include any sort of raw sugar, brown sugar, corn syrup, or high fructose corn syrup, glucose, fructose, sucrose, and fruit juice concentrate. Our complex carbohydrates are going to be very high in fiber, high in starch, and they digest really, really slowly. Like I said, they're going to keep us going throughout the whole day. And these are most commonly going to be found in our whole wheat bread, some cereals, corn, and I'm talking not like those really sugary cereals, but our cereals that have like a high wheat base and things like that, or a high oat base. So corn, oats, peas, rice, really hearty fruits and vegetables, nuts and beans. So more about carbohydrates here. Most of our carbohydrate food is really high in fiber. It's a complex carbohydrate from plants that helps our body with digestion. So fiber is really important because it helps our body digest the food, um, though our body doesn't actually digest the fiber. So 45 to 65% of a person's diet daily calories should come from carbohydrates to keep us going throughout the day. Um, and then, if you're going to think about foods that are really rich in fiber, we're going to think about vegetables that are really heavy and greeny. We're going to think about a lot of wheat and protein, not proteins, I'm sorry, a lot of wheat and oats. Those are all really high in fiber and really just great from the body. And the fiber is going to help us with digestion there. And, truly just make sure that our body's able to absorb the nutrients that we need on a regular basis. Next, we have fats. So fats serve as another source of energy. Um, they also form cells and maintain the body's temperature and protect nerves. Cholesterol is part of the fats that we eat. Is a waxy and fat-like substance that is found only in animal products. Our body needs cholesterol to make different cell membranes and nerve tissue, but our body also makes all of the cholesterol that it actually needs. So we don't actually need to eat meat to get the cholesterol. A diet that's really high in cholesterol, high in fats, can create a risk for heart disease. So if you're eating a lot of fatty animals, a lot of fatty foods, things like that, you're definitely at risk for heart disease. 20 to 35% of a person's daily calories should come from healthy fats. And so now we need to think of what are some of our healthy fats. Well, an avocado is a great source. A little bit of oil when you're cooking is a great source. Eggs are a little bit fatty, as even though they're protein as well. So those are also healthy fats that we can. So definitely, those are things that really help us with our nerve tissue and our cell membranes. Um, but we're not looking, to, eat a whole pound of bacon by ourselves, things like that. So yeah, then we have different kinds of fats. We have the unsaturated, saturated, and trans fats. There's a total of 20 amino acids, and our bodies make 11 of them, and the remaining nine are called essential amino acids, and then we need to get them from food. Okay, so what about our unsaturated fats? These are liquid at room temperature and are considered to be the most beneficial for our body. So, like any sort of oils that you're going to use for cooking your food, things like that, those are going to be your unsaturated fats. Your saturated fats are going to have a single chain of bonds. They're typically found in our meats, our eggs, our dairy products. They may be considered unhealthy, but only if you're eating them in like mass quantities. And then lastly, you have trans fats. These are considered like the absolute worst fats possible because they can raise our bad cholesterol and lower our good cholesterol. Let's talk about cholesterol here for a minute. So, cholesterol is going to be a lipid molecule made in the cells of the body. Most animals' food contains some amount of cholesterol. There's two different kinds of cholesterol. You have the low density lipoproteins and then the high density lipoproteins. So, we're going to call them the LDL and the HDL. An increase in the LDL cholesterol is what can lead to heart disease and possibly a stroke. Trans fats and saturated fats show the biggest risk of increasing LDL in the body. All right, now let's talk about protein for a minute. This serves as another source of energy. Um, it's also truly an aid in how we grow on a regular basis. So those of you who are growing definitely need some protein. Um, and then it's a great way to repair any tissues in our body that may have been harmed just from daily things. So, proteins are made up of chains of amino acids. These amino acids are very small units that are bound together chemically to form different proteins. Your diet can make 11 of them, but again, we need to get nine of them that are essential amino acids, and we must get them from the food that we eat. So, let's there's basically two different kinds of proteins here that we're working with. So you've got your animal kinds of proteins. They are complete proteins, and they contain all of the nine essential amino acids that our body needs to get. So that is a big proprietor of why we are omnivores and why our teeth are made to eat meat and vegetables because of these essential amino acids that we need. Um, Proteins also you can get from plants. They're just incomplete proteins. So they do not contain all nine essential amino acids in one source. But if you eat different foods in a combination, you would be able to get all nine essential amino acids that you need. So that's why if there's people out there who are vegetarian or they're vegan and they're not eating any animal protein, they really have to make sure they're watching their diet and varying what they're eating in different plants and beans and vegetables and things like that to make sure that they're getting the rest of those nine essential amino acids in their diet to help them function properly on a regular basis. All right. Now let's talk about micronutrients. So some of our micronutrients, we have vitamins. Vitamins do not provide us any energy, but again, they are essential for our body's function. They help to assist with the chemical reactions in our body. We have two different kinds of vitamins. They are classified as fat soluble, and then they can be stored in the body, and then water soluble vitamins that cannot be stored in the body. So our fat soluble vitamins are going to be vitamin A, D, E, and K, and our water soluble vitamins are going to be vitamin C and vitamin B. All right. So again, fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Um, these are antioxidant vitamins that help us to protect healthy cells from any damage caused by the normal aging process. As we as well as any certain types of cancer. Our water soluble vitamins that cannot be stored are going to be the B's and the C's. Obviously, there's like vitamin C, and then there's a ton of different B vitamins here. So we've got biotin that helps with hair growth. We've got folic acid. It's really important for women who are pregnant to take a supplement of folic acid because it helps the baby grow. We've got riboflavin. We've got niacin. All of these are truly important vitamins to help us function on a daily basis. All right, so let's talk about our water soluble vitamins for a minute. Vitamins B, those help with metabolism every day. And then vitamin C, you have those emergency things packs out there for when you're sick. They help us with immunity. As you can tell, Miss Martian probably needs to get some vitamin C in her so that she can get better today. We also have our fat soluble vitamins. So vitamin A, and remember, these fat soluble vitamins are things that we can store in our bodies. So vitamin A is great when we get vitamin A in our diet. It helps with our eyesight, helps with our bone growth, and helps with our cell growth. We get that from the food that we eat, and we can store all that in our body. Vitamin D helps with our absorption of blood calcium. The best way to get vitamin D, I mean, you can get a little bit from food, but the best way to get vitamin D is just to be outside and get a from the sunshine every day. Then we also have vitamin E, which acts as an antioxidant. It protects the cells against any damage. Um, you can get most of that and then in the food that you eat. And then you also have vitamin K, which helps with the synthesis of protein, which is responsible for blood coagulation and calcium binding. So things that are necessary just in our body's functions every day to help us function. Now let's talk about minerals for a minute. So this is again another micronutrient that is essential to help us live, but again is not going to provide us any energy. Um, Minerals perform a wide variety of functions in our body. They occur naturally in different rocks or in soil. Some things like calcium, we need to make sure we get enough of, and then other things like sodium, we need to make sure that we don't eat too much of it or limit it in our body because it can be harmful. Um, so here's some minerals that we need in large quantities. We need calcium, we need sodium. Sodium kind of sits on the edge there. We need potassium, you can get that from bananas. We need magnesium, we need phosphorus, we need chlorine, and we need a little bit of sulfur. The things that we only need trace amounts is iron, fluorine, iodine, copper, and zinc. If you notice, most of the salt that you buy at the store is it's like salt with iodine. It's just like the trace amounts of iodine so that when you salt your food, you're getting the total amount of iodine that you need. Um, Iron is a huge one that people find every day. So I don't know if some of you have taken those multivitamins in the morning. A big thing to remember with those multivitamins are packed with iron. So it's truly like you need to make sure that if you're going to take one of those, you're only taking one a day because you can get iron poisoning from taking more than one a day. And it would just be really harmful to your body. You don't need to supplement these things necessarily if you're eating a very well balanced and nutritious diet. All right, and lastly, let's talk about our last micronutrient that, again, is not going to provide us any energy, and that is water. But water is truly essential for all of life's processes. Water is the primary component of blood in all the tissues in our body. Our whole body is made up of 60%, 65% water. So we need to make sure that we get more than enough water every day, just so that our body can function and we can, be a healthy person living each day. It carries waste products out of the body and it also helps us to digest our food and make sure that we're able to get all of the energy we get out of our macronutrients and then also help us to obtain the energy we need from our vitamins and our minerals or micronutrients. Most people don't drink enough water. Um, so we need to make sure that we're getting enough of that. All right. So here's some tips about water. Try to get the most of your water in the form of plain water or from eating whole fruits and vegetables. Things we really want to avoid are juices, sodas, and other liquid calories. Sports drinks with electrolytes, so like our Gatorades, our Powerades, things like that, they're not necessary unless you've been exercising for 5 hours or more. So if you're going to go out and play like a whole football game, yes, you probably need to have some, have a Gatorade or have a Powerade, something like that. But if you just, head for like a 30-minute walk down the road, and then you come back, a nice 8-ounce glass of water is really gonna be great for you. There's no need to drink a Gatorade or a Powerade. They're just going to one, add extra calories because they are full of sugar. But two, they have a lot of vitamins and minerals in them. And if they're extra, like your body can't even absorb them, your body will just get rid of them. They'll just be produced as waste. So you might as well just drink a nice glass of water instead. All right, so here's a little nutrition analogy for us, okay? So if we have $2,000, this is our monthly budget. We've got to pay our mortgage, our utilities, water, electric, and sewer. We have, and then we got to pay transportation, phone, clothing, etc. This is what we have left over, $267. That's our fun money. All right, so if we waste our fun money if we waste all of our normal money that we need to pay every day on fun things before we run out of the necessities are paid for, we have three different options. So we can stop spending our money, um, which will help us stay in budget, or we can lack the necessities to function. We could also buy on credit, which would mean that we would have the necessities to function, or we would have debt and we would owe back with interest. And then you can also buy on credit, but continue to buy whatever you want, which means we're still going to be lacking the necessities and then owe a serious debt back with interest. Okay. All right. So now let's take a look at this analogy as if though it were 2,000 calories provided by energy from food. So the things that we need for a monthly budget, we have to have carbohydrates, we have to have fat, we have to have proteins, we got to have our vitamins, both water soluble and fat soluble, and then we have to have our minerals, calcium, etc. Now we've got 267 calories that are left over. So what are we going to do here? All right, so if we waste all of our calories on the fun foods, the junk foods, okay, the fried foods, things like that, we have three different options. We need to stop eating to maintain a healthy weight. If we stop eating, we also may become malnourished because if we're just eating candies and fried foods, we're not getting all of the nutrients that we need, so we might become malnourished. If we buy on credit what we need or overeat, we could be well nourished, or sometimes we might become overweight, especially if you're eating all of your calories away and all the fun things and the fried foods and the sugars, and then you also are going to eat, try to eat a normal healthy diet after that, it's very likely that you're going to eat over your calories and you're beginning to become overweight. Another thing that can happen when you buy on credit for your calories, again, we can become overweight. But if you're just going to continue to eat whatever you want, you're definitely going to become malnourished, like I said before, just because you're not getting all the nutrients that you need from the foods that you're eating. So we really need to make sure we have a really well-balanced diet, have our carbohydrates, have our protein, eat our fruits and vegetables, and then, vary in a little bit of fats, things like that. And if you feel that, or if you or your doctor is probably a better choice, feels that you're not getting the minerals that you need, that's when you would add a supplement. So, but really, we need to focus on those carbohydrates, those wheats, those oats, things like that. And then from there, go in, we need our fruits and our vegetables, which are really great and healthy for us. And then, vary in a little bit of protein from there and our healthy fats. Um, so here's just a couple of different food pyramids now in 2005. So these are still a little bit old. Back in 1992, like when I went to school, we had this pyramid. So it was like, hey, eat all this bread. Then you just need a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of dairy, a little bit of protein, and then the tiniest bit up here. Now we have in 2005, they recreated this pyramid where it's a little bit more even, like everything is working towards the same goal. And then like the slivers are a little bit different. So, they just try to recommend it differently. This is going to myplate.gov is a great thing to do just to kind of see what you should be eating based on your body type, based on, if you're a male, if you're a female, and then also like based on your size, like how tall you are, how much you weigh, that's all going to depend on what you get every day and what you should be eating in terms of vegetables, grains, proteins, fruit, dairy, etc., to make sure you're getting all the nutrients that you need. All right, so let's talk about some behaviors of eating. What motivates us to eat? So there's a lot of different things. Hunger, obviously, like when your belly gets hungry, you need to eat something. Appetite, cultural, social means. So if you're going out with a group of friends and they say we're going up for ice cream, well, obviously you're going to grab some ice cream. That's a social thing to do. Habit or custom. If you eat breakfast every day at 6 in the morning, your body will just get used to that and it'll want to eat breakfast every day at 6 in the morning. Emotional or comfort food. This happens Some people find that, they find food comforting. So, they had a bad day at work, they grab a bag of chips, sit on the couch and eat the entire bag of chips. So we just need to make sure we're finding some balance in the things that motivate us to eat. Convenience or advertising, if you see a Taco Bell commercial on the TV, you're like, "Oh, hey, I want Taco Bell now." So you go out and get Taco Bell. Same thing. If you're at the grocery store, it's a really great thing to do is to make sure that you have a list and stick to the list of what you're buying, because the product and advertising, even just on the products in the grocery store, will convince you to purchase things that you might not need, and might not be good for your body. The nutritional value. So, sometimes we just really have to be conscious of what we're eating, and make sure, like, if we know that we've been eating a diet high in protein, but haven't really been getting a lot of vegetables or fruits, we might know that when we go to the grocery store the next time, we need to pick up some fruits and vegetables. And then, also social interactions back to the, going for ice cream. All right. And that is the end for what I have today about macronutrients and micronutrients. I hope that was informative to you. Again, I would definitely go to that myplate.gov to see if there's anything that you need to change in your diet to make sure you're getting your nutrients. And also, if you have any more questions about this, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about the micronutrients and macronutrients that you need in your body. Um, have a great week, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks.